The focus of today's lesson is volume and surface area of spheres. Example 1. Ulysses is baking cake pops for a cupcake store. Each cake pop has a radius of 2 centimeters. What is the volume of each cake pop? Okay, so our formula for the volume of a sphere is given by V is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed, where r is the radius. So in this case, our radius is 2, so our volume is 4/3 pi times 2 cubed. So our volume is 4/3 pi times 8, or in this case 32 pi thirds. And this is volume, so cubic centimeters. Example 2. The basketball below needs to be filled with air before it can be used. It has a diameter of 9.55 inches. How many cubic inches of air does it need to be fully inflated? Okay, so remember, the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. In this case, our radius is half of our diameter, so 9.55 divided by 2. That is 4.775. So volume is equal to 4/3 pi times 4.775 cubed. And then we're going to go ahead and just type this into a calculator. So we get 4.775 to the power of 3 times 4 divided by 3 times pi. And we get 456 cubic inches, approximately. Now it's your turn to try. The orange below has a diameter of 3.5 inches. What's the volume of the orange in cubic inches? Pause the video, give it a try. Now let's talk about the surface area of a sphere. Think about this. If you remove the covering from a baseball or a softball, you will end up with 2 figure-8 pieces of material, as shown. From the amount of material it takes to cover the ball, what would you estimate the surface area S of the ball to be? Now, if you take a close look at this, you will notice that the leather covering essentially makes up 4 circles. The area of one circle is pi r squared. So the area of these 4 circles is actually 4 pi r squared. So the surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared, where r is the radius. Let's take a look at example 1. Find the surface area of the sphere. Okay, so we know that our surface area is equal to 4 pi r squared. In this case, r is 8. So our surface area is 4 pi 8 squared. 8 squared is 64, and then 64 times 4 is 256. So our surface area is 256 pi square inches. Now it's your turn to try. Find the surface area of the sphere with diameter 40 feet. Be careful here, they give the diameter, not the radius. Pause the video and give it a try. All right, example 2. Find the surface area of the sphere. This time, they give us not the radius, but the circumference. So we must use that information to help us find the radius to then find the surface area. Now, we know that the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. Therefore, in this case, we know that 2 pi r is equal to 12 pi. Using that, We can divide both sides of this equation by 2 pi, and then that isolates our radius r. Pi's cancel, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. So we know that this sphere has radius 6. We know that surface area is equal to 4 pi r squared, with our radius being 6. So 4 pi times 6 squared, or 4 pi times 36. Then we have 36 times pi, 4 times 30 is 120, and 4 times 6 is 24. So we know we have 144 pi square inches. Now your turn to try. Find the surface area of the sphere given that the circumference is 6 pi feet. Pause the video and give it a try. Example 3. Find the diameter of the sphere given the surface area. Okay, so we know surface area is 4 pi r squared. We know in this case that the surface area is 20.25 pi square centimeters. And we know that is equal to some 4 pi r squared. We're trying to isolate the variable r squared, so we'll go ahead and divide both sides of the equation by 4 pi. 4 pi's on the right cancel, leaving us with r squared. On the left, we have 20.25 divided by 4 because the pi's cancel. We have here 20.25 divided by 4, which is 5.0625. In order to isolate the radius, we must get rid of the square, so we square root both sides of the equation. Going back to our calculator, we square root, and we see that the radius is 2.25. Now, the question is not what is the radius, but rather what is the diameter. We know the diameter is 2 times radius, so in this case, we know that that's 2 times 2.25, or in this case, 4.5 centimeters for our diameter. Now it's your turn to try. Find the radius of the sphere, given that the surface area is 30 pi meters squared. Pause the video, give it a try. All right, now it's your turn to practice. Make sure you grab a copy of the practice worksheet. It has 2 sides. Knock this out, that way you have no homework.